Most people do not fail because they lack talent. They fail because they move through life without direction. They confuse wishing with commitment, desire with discipline, dreaming with doing. Everyone has goals. Few have systems. And that is where most people lose. People say they want success. They say they want freedom. They say they want a better life. But wanting something means very little, because goals are not reached by intention. They are reached by behavior. That is the first truth most people avoid. Goals are easy to announce, hard to pursue. At the beginning, excitement is high. Motivation feels endless. Everything seems possible. But then reality appears. Progress is slower than expected. Discomfort enters. Discipline is required. And suddenly the goal feels heavier than the fantasy. This is where most people quit. Because many people are in love with outcomes, but not in love with process. They want results, but not repetition. They want achievement, but not sacrifice. And without sacrifice, goals remain imagination. Another reason most people never achieve their goals is because they overestimate intensity and underestimate consistency. They believe one big effort will change everything. It will not. Life changes through repeated action. Small disciplines, repeated daily, over months, over years. That is how goals are conquered. Not dramatically, quietly. But people get bored with quiet progress. They want immediate evidence. And when success does not arrive quickly, they assume they are failing. But slow progress is not failure. Stopping is. Most people abandon goals not because they are incapable, but because they lose patience. And impatience destroys potential. Then there is distraction, one of the silent killers of ambition. People set goals while feeding habits that destroy focus. Constant entertainment, constant comparison, constant scrolling, constant noise. And attention scattered in many directions cannot build anything meaningful. Because goals require concentrated energy. And most people protect comfort more than they protect focus. That is why they stay where they are. Comfort feels safe. But comfort has ended more dreams than failure ever did. Because comfort whispers, tomorrow. Later. You can start when you feel ready. But readiness is often an illusion. People wait too long. And delay becomes identity. Another reason goals die is because people rely too much on motivation. And motivation is unreliable. Some days it appears. Some days it vanishes. If your goals survive only when you feel inspired, they will not survive long. The people who achieve extraordinary things do not rely on mood. They rely on standards. They act when they feel like it, and when they don't. That is discipline. And discipline reaches places motivation never can. There is another mistake people make. They make goals too vague. I want success. I want to improve. I want a better life. But vague goals create vague effort. Clear goals create clear action. The mind moves with precision when purpose has precision. And many people never define what they truly want. So they drift. And drifting never reaches destinations. Fear also destroys goals. Fear of failure. Fear of judgment. Fear of being seen trying. So people play small. They lower ambitions to protect their ego. But every meaningful goal requires risking failure. No courage, no growth. And maybe the deepest reason most people never achieve their goals is because they stop believing they can. After setbacks, after delays, after mistakes, they interpret struggle as proof they are not meant for more. But struggle proves nothing except growth is difficult, and difficulty is normal. Every strong person you admire walked through resistance, not around it. People often think successful people had more confidence. Often they simply had more endurance. They kept going longer. That was the difference. Because achievement is less about brilliance and more about staying in the fight long enough. And perhaps that is what most people miss. Goals are not achieved in grand moments. They are won in ordinary moments. When you wake up and do the work, when no one is watching, when progress feels invisible, when quitting would be easy, and you continue. That is where goals are built, quietly, through decisions, repeated, again and again. And understand this, your future is not shaped by what you intend to do someday. It is shaped by what you repeatedly do today. That is where destiny hides, in habits, not hopes, in discipline, not desire. So why do most people never achieve their goals? Because they choose comfort over growth, distraction over focus, motivation over discipline, talking over action, and wishing over commitment. But the moment those choices change, life changes. Because goals are rarely impossible. They are abandoned. And there is a difference. A massive difference. You do not need more talent. You may need more consistency, more courage, more discipline, more patience. Because success is often not reserved for the most gifted, but for those who refuse to stop. And maybe the truth is, most people never achieve their goals because they treat goals like interests, not obligations. Interests fade. Obligations remain. Treat your goals like something sacred. Protect them. Work for them. Suffer for them if necessary. Because anything meaningful demands something from you. And that price is discipline. Remember, the gap between people who dream and people who achieve is often not intelligence. It is execution. So move, even imperfectly. Act, even uncertain. Begin, even afraid. Because goals are not reached by those who wait for perfect conditions. They are reached by those who keep moving through imperfect ones. And once you understand that, you stop asking why most people never achieve their goals and start becoming one of the few who do.